Hello. This is completely unscripted. This is completely off the cuff. I just saw footage from the I don't even know what the title of this video is going to be. This is just completely off the cuff. The guy who shot Charlie Kirk. I just saw his trial. Tyler Robinson. Anyway. I have a lot of things that I want to say, but I'm going to try to keep it very simple. I don't want to waste too much of your time for anyone who watches this. This is not my usual content. I want to make that very clear. I don't usually do this kind of thing, generally. I try to keep at least some modicum of professionalism, even in some of my more off-the-cuff videos where I, just ramble. I at least have an idea going into it, what I'm going to say. This is just literally me deciding, maybe I should make a video on my opinions of the whole situation. I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was. I was very much someone who stayed out of the political spectrum. I understand he was not political. He was a Christian. He was a Christian activist who was actively talking and debating people and winning. Horrible what happened to him. To me, as someone who didn't follow him and found him only after the fact, I feel like I have not done nearly enough to warrant any real opinion on much, but I do feel like I want to express my feelings and get stuff off my chest. As a Christian, which I am, I can't help but feel like Charlie Kirk was definitely, if I knew about him, I probably would have supported him in many, many different ways. I'm trying to work everything out in my mind. I'm trying to not be too emotional. And it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to be sad. Especially for someone like Charlie Kirk. He was a true man's man, and I loved everything that I found out about him. Wish I'd found him sooner. It's actually a little interesting. I did watch a YouTube video about him reacting to a South Park thing that was basically making fun of him, and he was very agreeable and amenable in that video. I saw that before his death. I didn't know who he was or what he was about, but he sounded to me like a reasonable man who knew what he was doing for the most part. I didn't particularly agree with Charlie about every single thing. But for the most part, He was a sound, reasonable man who had many good points as well as bad. I think that certain aspects of his program and thought process on certain things differed from mine, but I don't discount them. I don't say that they're not part of the conversation. I would never do that. I enjoy watching people learn and better themselves. Not because they were wrong and need to be righted, but because asking questions, debating anyone, no matter what side you're on, is always a learning experience, and it should be treated as such. The sheer fact that Charlie Kirk was at a school, an educational place, somewhere of supposed higher learning, to debate kids and to help them grow and try to see, not just a better side, but a different side, a different viewpoint. That is something to be admired and very much applauded in today's day and age. I see so much division and this country is in my younger years, I thought that the world was very simple, obviously. I tried to look at everything as more black and white, and the older I get, the more I realize, and I've realized this for a while, this is nothing new, but for anyone who needs to hear it, the world is more shades of gray. And Charlie Kirk understood this, and he took his teachings from God and probably a lot from his personal life and used them to open the eyes of many. And again, I can't fathom the bravery it took to make this a public event. I saw the videos of his shooting, of his assassination. And the sheer amount of people who showed up, not just to, celebrate him, but to debate him, to actually engage in this. People were interested. It was a fascinating thing to see before. Yeah. The first time I heard of Charlie Kirk's death was probably the day of, if not the day after, it actually happened. And I didn't know then how big of an influence Charlie Kirk really had. Nor did I understand the magnitude of what this action, this despicable, horrific thing that happened to him actually meant. Not only to the country, not only to the general public, but to me, personally. Charlie Kirk was not a politician. Charlie Kirk was not someone to, bribe and to, buy off. He was a civilian, like you or me. He could have been anybody. And if anyone thinks that it's okay to do that just because they think differently from you, that's not right. That's not okay. That will never be okay. We live in a society. And I hope that you understand that. I hope I understand that. I hope we can understand that as a people, as a society, as Americans. Because that's what we are, right? Americans. Land of the free, home of the brave. Oh, Charlie Kirk was definitely brave. He was more than brave. He was an inspiration. And he was more free than any man I've seen lately in a long time. Tyler Robinson will never be forgiven in my heart of hearts. What he did was sad, pathetic, and there are many words that I could say about Tyler Robinson. There are many things that I want to say about Tyler Robinson, but a wonderful woman that I call Mom taught me at a very early age that if you have nothing good to say about anyone, then don't say anything at all. And I think that's exactly what I'm going to do about Tyler Robinson. There are many things, many things, many horrible things that I want to say about Tyler Robinson, and I will hold my tongue, because that's what Charlie Kirk would have done. Not necessarily because he has nothing to say. He would probably debate the fuck out of Tyler Robinson if he was given the chance. Depending on how you look at it, and depending on what you want to believe is real, Tyler Robinson would probably not be a very good debatee, considering he is very stoic and non-responsive to the majority of his own court case. I'm just going to leave that there. I made this video because I was feeling down. I was feeling sad and very much depressed. It showed in my workspace, it showed in my personal life. I felt like I couldn't do anything. Like my voice didn't matter or couldn't be reached by anyone. That I was insignificant in the grand scheme of things. That despite everything that I believed in, there was nothing I could do. And to a certain extent, there is not much I can do. Except vent to the camera for your entertainment, amusement, or hopefully education. Maybe I'm teaching you something, I don't know. I still feel like there's a heavy burden on not just me, but America as a whole. For a long time, America felt like there was something wrong with it. Like and I could never put it into words what was wrong. Was it the gun control? Was it the birth rates? Was it, dating? Was it the national terrorism? I couldn't say. I didn't know. But now that Charlie Kirk's death has made such an impact on society as a whole, I feel like I can be more certain about what this sickness is. And it's something that people have nudged at and touched slightly, and we've scratched the surface slightly on what it could be. But I didn't understand how divided we truly were. How different our ideologies could actually have been. There are many YouTubers, you've probably seen them. I'm not going to list them off here, but so many people have opened my eyes to the sheer fact that there are some Americans, and it's obvious in hindsight. I wasn't completely blind to it. I was just not sure what to what extent it went. But there are some people who live in America who truly, honestly, hate America. And to a certain extent, America isn't perfect. But compared to a lot of other places in the world, even some of the more, up there places like England, they're going through their own revolution. They're going through a lot of shit. Even Germany is extremely corrupt and all this stuff. America has free speech. You can bitch and moan about anything while playing a goddamn video game. You can't do that in so many places. In China, they have laws against playing video games after a certain amount of time. There are curfews in certain parts of the world where you don't even get to go out after a certain amount of time. You have so many basic freedoms that you have here in my country, in America, that no other place in the world has, because their government either sucks, is corrupt, or both. I'd like to believe that, despite everything, I honestly thought that, we just needed to try harder to make this country great again. And I'm not a MAGA person necessarily. I didn't vote for Trump. I actually voted third party. I voted for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I did. But I didn't know it was this bad. I did not know it was this bad, that by sheer different ideologies, one can be judge, jury, and executioner just because of someone's different beliefs. I still believe that America is the greatest country in the world. Not because of military power, that has a lot to do with it, don't get me wrong, but because we were a better society than anyone else. We have things in this country that no other country has. We have so many freedoms and so many things that we take for granted every day. Why would you want to get rid of all that? Why do you want to be like all the other countries in the world? Why do you want to be like China or Russia or Germany or, I don't know, Africa? You want to be like Africa? I'm sorry. I don't want to be like Africa. Not really. In fact, if more Africans want to come over legally, I wouldn't be opposed to it. More people does not make our society worse. More people makes our society great. This country was built by immigrants with a love for freedom and acceptance. They call America the Great Melting Pot because we literally have every single nationality in the world all rolled into one. And that makes our culture vast and arguably endless. If you want to, have Japanese descent, You have such culture. German descent, such culture. You have so much to bring us as a society because you are different, because you have such different cultures. That's why we like Japanese anime. It's because it's a different culture that America just does not have. And it's something that shocks the senses to us culturally. Like, why do you think it's big? Why do you think French animation, like Totally Spies and a little show called Whack Fu on Netflix? I'm not sponsored, but go watch that show. It's freaking amazing. Watch it subbed. The dub is not the best, but I digress. Enough. I'm getting off track now. Getting off track. But yeah, back to Charlie Kirk. He was a man who understood all of that. He understood that there was more to life than just the left and the right. He understood that the world was filled with shades of gray. He understood that people needed to know that, just because you support Trump does not make you a right-wing lunatic. And just because you supported Kamala Harris doesn't mean you're a left-wing nut. I didn't support either, and I feel like the country is better for it, one way or another. People have called Charlie Kirk many things. He's been called a Nazi. He's been called a liar. He's been called Hitler. He has been called, believe it or not, he's been called Hitler. He's been called an angry person. He's been called this, that, and the other. And none of it is true. What Charlie Kirk is, what he really is, or perhaps was, he was a father, he was a husband, and he was a true man. Without a shadow of a doubt, he was a true man. For speaking his mind and not being afraid to tell others not only his opinions, but to debate their own opinions against them. And win. Say what you will about Charlie Kirk. Go ahead. Make all the funny videos you want. Diss him, subjugate him to all of your, profanities. Charlie Kirk was a hero. He was a better man than most, and I wish I could have met him. I don't have much more to say. Tyler, if you ever get to watch this, which I highly doubt, but if you do, Tyler Robinson, I don't wish you the death penalty. Despite everything that I think, despite everything that I want to say and believe, I don't wish you the death penalty. That may sound controversial. That may even sound contradictory. I want you to live with your consequences. I want you to understand how wrong you were to go after this man, to go after Charlie Kirk. I want you to understand that there are so many things that you did wrong in that moment. I don't want you to die, because there are a lot worse things than death. This was a bit of a dour one, folks, and I apologize for that. I don't know when I'm going to be making another video, but it will probably not be anytime soon. Just wanted to get this off my chest and, hopefully put it mostly behind me. But know that Charlie Kirk lives on in here, in my heart. Thoughts and prayers will go out to his family. And despite what many might think, I will be praying for Tyler Robinson as well. He definitely does not deserve it, even in my eyes, but as a Christian, and hopefully in memory of Charlie Kirk, again, I will never forgive him, but he is still a human being. He is still a person. None of us are perfect. We all have our flaws. We all have our indignities. We all have things that we regret. Tyler Robinson was a young man who was influenced by certain people. And despite me not wanting him to have a second chance, I will still pray for him to get that second chance. I will let the courts decide his fate. I have no qualms with him actually dying, but I think that's where I'll end it. See you next time. Have a good day. I'm okay. I'm okay. Can I not shut this off? No, my ending. My phone doesn't want to work right now. Okay. See you next time, Space Cowboy.